Let's be honest, wars do not sustain themselves. Behind every missile, every bomb, and every destroyed city, there is money, logistics, and power politics. Since October 2023, the United States has sent more than $21 billion in military aid to Israel. And if you count the future arms deals already locked in, the number rises to the tens of billions. This is not just about defense, it's about control, geopolitical leverage, regional dominance, and the economics of war. Washington's relationship with Israel has always been strategic, but since the Gaza war began, it has turned into something else, a full-scale military partnership, funded by US taxpayers and justified under the banner of security through foreign military financing. America's companies get paid to arm a foreign military. Through offshore procurement, Israel uses US dollars to build up its own defense industry. And through the war reserve stockpile, the Pentagon keeps American weapons sitting inside Israel, ready to be used at a moment's notice. This is not just support, that is integration. In the first year of the Gaza war alone, Washington gave Israel nearly $18 billion in military aid. And the following year, another $3.8 billion. So the question is, what does that buy? F-15s, F-16s, F-35s, Apache helicopters, precision bombs, the very weapons flattening Gaza's neighborhood and silencing its hospitals. Every detonation we see on screen is tied to a production line somewhere in Texas, Arizona, and Missouri. This is not just Israel's war, it's America's too. Behind the scenes, there are over 700 active arms deals with Israel, together worth nearly $40 billion. And let me tell you, these contracts guarantee a steady flow of weapons for years, no matter who sits in the White House. It is an entire war economy, and Israel is both the front line and the showroom. The US calls it support for an ally, but in reality, it is about keeping a foothold in the Middle East. A heavily armed Israel acts as America's permanent base of influence, a regional enforcer in a world where Washington's direct presence is shrinking. Every bomb dropped over Gaza sends a message not just to Hamas but to Iran, Syria, and even Beijing. That is the geopolitics of it. Proxy dominance wrapped in humanitarian rhetoric. And it is not just Israel. Since the Gaza war began, the US has spent up to $12 billion on its own regional operations, naval patrols in the Red Sea, airstrikes near Yemen, and deterrence missions aimed at Iran. So while the world debates ceasefires, the machinery of war keeps moving, financed, supplied, and maintained by the same global system that claims to want peace. But something interesting is happening inside the United States. For the first time, real opposition is growing. Senator Bernie Sanders has pushed votes to block arms sales to Israel. Some Democrats, even a few Republicans, now call what is happening in Gaza a genocide. Still, the shipments continue. Because in Washington, political courage often ends where defense contracts begin. By 2028, a new 10-year aid agreement with Israel will come up for renewal. Another $3.8 billion every single year. And once it is signed, the cycle restarts. Money flows, weapons fly, and the world burns, all in the name of strategic partnership. And here is the hard truth. Without US money, Israel's air force would not fly. Without US spare parts, its jets would not launch. And without US political cover, its leaders would face accountability. So when we talk about Gaza, we are not just talking about Israel's war. We are talking about America's choices. Empires do not collapse because they lose wars. They collapse because they lose their conscience.